Trying to keep my eyes on the prize, but my vision's impaired. Chasing a dream that might not happen, admit that I'm scared. I'm on a boat and I'm trying to float, but my ship it keeps sinking. Thousands of dollars invested, what the fuck was I thinking? I'm grinding non-stop, trying to hit that spot like y'all ain't heard of that.
What's going on, guys? So I'm kind of out here in the middle of a snowstorm right now, and my lazy ass decided to sleep in all day. I wanted to do this video, so I came out now, and it's 6 o'clock in the frickin' evening, so I had to kick on the lights. I feel like not a lot of people have been making videos in the last week or so, for good reason. We're all just kind of waiting for some news to pop off. You know, Shaw said there's going to be some kind of announcement. So a lot of people are holding hope that MetaZoo is going to be bought out, right? Someone's going to swoop in and save MetaZoo, and it's going to rebound to the moon. And I'm here to tell you guys, you know, you're cruising for a bruising if that's what you're thinking. Like, in my personal opinion, I don't think anyone's going to come in and save this company. Not the way that it stands right now. Nobody's going to be stupid enough to take on all that debt that they supposedly have. That's just my personal opinion. Now, if they file for bankruptcy, somebody might swoop in eventually. But we're talking months and months and months. It takes a long time. It's a very slow, drawn-out process. They got to get all their lawyers. They got to gather all the information together. You know what I mean? It's just a long process whenever you're dealing with that stuff. I mean, this shit might not even start happening until next year. It might not even be 2025 before we hear some kind of announcement. And I just don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just the way that it is, right? So if you're holding hope that there's going to be an announcement in the next couple weeks, I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think anything's going to happen. I really don't. And if it is news, it's probably not going to be positive news. You know what I mean? Because I don't think they have any other option than to file for bankruptcy at this point in time. That's just the way that it is. It sucks. I get it. But hopefully somebody will buy it down the line, because there is a lot of potential here. I know a lot of people say, what is there to buy? Nick Strength was talking about it. What is there to buy truly? They're buying the MetaZoo name, but cryptids, you know what I mean? They're public domain. So anybody could take cryptids and make their own TCG if they wanted to, right? Anybody could do that. But it's the way that they actually created those cryptids. You know what I mean? The way that they interpret them. A lot of people like the style. A lot of people like the way that those cryptids looked. You know what I mean? Encapsulated them. So that's what you're buying. You're buying their interpretation of the cryptids, potentially the world and the IP that they created. Of course, they didn't create much of an IP because they never could get past like chapter 6 of the fucking, you know, comic book. You know, so we never got that far into the lore or anything, but there is a world there. There is a storyline that they could potentially buy and expand on, right? If they wanted to, or they could do their own thing. But that's essentially what they're buying, right? Their interpretation and the name and whatever else. But you have to admit that MetaZoo did make a lot of waves in the very beginning. They did make some legitimate waves, and they were making a lot of money. It wasn't a household name. There's billions of people on this planet that didn't know what MetaZoo was. But I guarantee Pokemon knew who what MetaZoo was. I guarantee Magic the Gathering knew who MetaZoo was. And that's all that matters. You know what I mean? There is potential here. So if somebody sees that potential, the potential that we've all saw since the very beginning, you know what I mean? They could buy this. They could. But again, probably not until 2025, in my personal opinion. We're going to be waiting a long time before that happens and somebody swoops in. And that's just facts. That's just a reality situation. I'm not going to sit here and live in fairy tale land. You know what I mean? I'm not going to freaking huff the copium and sit here and bullshit you and tell you otherwise. That's just how I feel about it. Truly. It sucks, but that's the situation that we find ourselves in. And you take a look at the market, and it really tells you that people think this is going to rebound. Because a lot of these things dropped down when Mike released that letter, and it immediately went back up. Kickstarter boxes dropped down to $400. Now they're back to $1,000. PSA 10 Kickstarter moths were selling for $400 or $500. They're back to like $800. And if anyone's buying this stuff for those prices, shame on you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the other stuff, you know, it's fine. They're at all-time lows. You know what I mean? So it's fine to pick up that stuff. But some of these grails, like, I'm not going to spend any money on them. There's things I want to pick up, but I'm like, no way, Jose. Because if we're going to be waiting months and months and months, people are going to give up on this. Right now, it's just all just boosted because people think that it's going to come back. They're FOMOing again, essentially, because people cannot not FOMO. It's just built into their DNA. So everybody thinks it's going to come back. It's going to have this huge resurgence. So they're trying to jump in now before prices, you know, spike back up. But I'm here to tell you, with a lot of these grails, man, they're just going to continue to go down and down and down. People that are spending like $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 on like PSA 10 red inks and old scratches and stuff, like, you're going to be regretting it. Because I want a PSA 10 red ink. I want a PSA 10 rolled scratch, but I'm not going to spend that much. I want to spend like 500, 600 bucks maximum. I'm not going to be spending thousands of dollars on this shit because it's just not worth it. And as time goes on, man, that plow truck is just lighting everything up. Holy shit. As time goes on, you know what I mean? Things are going to change. And these prices are just going to continue to drop, in my personal opinion. I know there's a few people out there that think otherwise. They think there's going to be an announcement. Someone's going to swoop in and be the savior. And I'm just here to tell you it's not going to happen. So stop spending your money and FOMOing in on this stuff. If you want those cards, just wait, because the prices will come. There's no reason to be spending that money on that stuff. There's just no reason for it. Now, like I said, from the rest of the stuff, the core sets and stuff, they're probably at the lowest they're ever going to be. If people say booster boxes are going to hit $5 a piece, I personally don't see it. You know what I mean? I think they're at the lowest now. Like $15 is probably the lowest you're going to see. Now, if you're in person and somebody's trying to fire sell their position or whatever, you probably can get $5 a booster box. Or if you're buying in like massive bulk and you're buying tons and tons of them, maybe you can get it for close to $5 a piece. But outside of that, I don't think anyone's going to sell for that cheap online because it's going to cost more to ship it. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's going to happen. But still, right now, if you want to pick it up, now is the time. If you want to fill your binders and stuff, I get it. What I don't understand is people buying a lot of these junk slabs. Bailey is an idiot because he graded a lot of this stuff that was printed to the ground, right? So he has thousands of slabs of core cards that aren't worth a shit. They're not even worth the freaking slabs that they're in. There's no reason to be picking that stuff up right now. There's no reason for it because it's never going to have value. If you're going to pick something up, I would say native in a slab because there's not much of it. Then maybe Seance because it's so hard to pull the good cards. And then maybe Cryptid Nation 1. Outside of that, I wouldn't pick up anything else. And I wouldn't even pick those up because there's just so many out there. Even Cryptid Nation 1, unless it's like a signed slab or something, it's not worth a shit. There's just too much out there. The same could be said for PSA 10 Kickstarter Mothmen. There's like 900 plus of those. The fan base is not that big anymore. It's continuing to shrink every day. If people have to wait months for some kind of information, I guarantee it's going to shrink even smaller. Every day somebody's going to walk away from the zoo because they just don't have the patience. You know, people don't have, you know what I mean, that attention span to sit here and wait for this stuff. They're not patient enough. You know what I mean? So people are going to continue to drift away. There's going to be less and less people that are going to want to hold on to this stuff and are going to want to buy this stuff. So there's no reason that should be like an $800 card. That's like a $300 slab in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? There's just too many out there. And that's Kickstarter, one of the rarest versions of the cards. So what makes you think a Cryptid Nation 1's going to be worth a lot of money? It's not going to be. So don't spend your money on these junk slabs. That's just my personal opinion. Let Bailey be stuck with those bags, man. Let him get burned on that shit because he was an idiot to grade it in the first place. That's just my personal opinion on the matter. Don't buy those slabs. When he's fire selling the shit, you think you're getting a deal buying it for $20, $25 a piece. It's not worth a shit. Even in PSA 10, it is not worth a shit. There's thousands of PSA 10 Cryptid Nation 1 cards. That means there's tens of thousands of Wilderness and UFO and all these other sets. Just don't waste your money on this shit. Please don't do it. You're just burning your money at that point in time. But unfortunately, some people are going to get fed the bullshit. You know what I mean? And they're going to think that they need to buy in because everybody just FOMOs and it's not worth it. But anyways, the main topic I want to talk about in this video is the fact that MetaZoo does not have integrity. I made a video almost exactly a year ago at this point in time talking about this very topic. Because there was a moment in time where they were selling stuff to their partners that we thought was sold out. Their Magic Cast boxes, their comic books, all kinds of stuff. They were also selling promo cards that they didn't have no right on selling. They had ding ding bells they were selling. But the main one that really pissed me off that I was talking about was the C2E2 promo. They put it up for sale to their partners for $5 a pop. And I said, if they're actually doing this, this is absolutely disgusting because it goes to show that there's no reason to make these promos in the first place. Because the only people that should have those promos are people that went to the event or somebody that went to it and is selling it and you bought it from somebody else that went to the event. It's the only people that should have those cards. We all get it. Bailey always walks away with stacks of promo cards and backdoors them. That happens all the time, which was already disgusting. But to find out that they were going to sell these things after the fact because they were sitting on a bunch of them, I said this is a slippery slope. You know what I mean? This is very, very concerning. It shows that they don't have any integrity. Like, I'm starting to wonder if they're going to start selling sample packs and Kickstarter boxes to these LGSs for $5 or $50 or $100 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they started doing that behind the scenes, because they keep pulling Kickstarter boxes out of thin air. Like, I don't understand it. There's no integrity anymore. When you start doing that stuff, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, why you want to screw off your collectors and everybody else that put so much into this game and think they own something special, and just slap them in the face and say, screw you. You don't own anything special. There's a million of these things, and now we're going to release the rest of them that we've been sitting on. Like, that's so screwed up. And in that video, at the time, I didn't know that they canceled those cards. Somebody actually commented after the fact and said, you know, they're not actually selling these. They canceled it, yada, yada. And I tried to ask them, you know, when did they cancel it? And I never got an answer. You know what I mean? I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I assumed that they did it on their own accord because they found out that it was happening and nipped it in the bud and it stopped it. But now looking back, I might have been actually right with my original analysis. You know what I mean? They might have actually saw my video and then decided to cancel the orders. And if they waited to see my video, you know what I mean, which I put out several days later, that's disgusting to me, because I was the one that was making a fuss. I drew all the attention to it. And if it took that for them to actually turn around and nip it in the bud, and they couldn't do it on their own accord, it just goes to show how disgusting of a company MetaZoo is, and that they don't have integrity. Now, Nick Strange just showed us a screenshot from one of the Discord conversations that Mike was having with potential investors. And he was talking about how he was going to take 2.5% of his vault every single quarter, and he's going to sell it off to the market. Now, we don't know what's in that vault. Is it Kickstarter product? Is it sample cards? Is it rare metal cards? Is it promo cards that have very rare print runs? You know what I mean? What is in that vault? What is he selling? You know what I mean? We have an idea that there's somebody on TCG Player that's been fire selling different things that they shouldn't have, you know, for cheap prices for, you know, the last couple years. The same thing could be said for people on, you know, eBay and then whatnot, Bailey and stuff, always backdoor stuff. So there's been a lot of weird sales that have been happening anyways, you know, and then there's probably private sales that we don't even know about. So we already knew that this was kind of happening, but now we can confirm that it's been happening, and it's disgusting. I said it in that video, you know, once you open up the floodgates and you start getting people wondering what's happening, then all integrity is out the window, because we don't know if you're overprinting. Did you actually print 2,500 Kickstarter boxes? Did you actually print 100 of each sample card? You know what I mean? Did you print more of this stuff? We don't know. What is in that vault? What has he been selling behind the scenes? We don't know. And that's the problem with TCGs, man. They literally have the power to print money at their fingertips. So what's going to stop them? What's going to stop them? You know what I mean? Nothing. I wanted to hold them up to such high standard. I wanted to believe that they're going to do the right thing and they weren't going to be greedy. Because if they do the right thing, the money's going to come in time. That's what you got to understand. Don't go for the quick money. Go for the long game. Then everybody's happy. Then you build this huge community. You build this huge IP, right? And people become massive fans, just like they did with Pokemon. And it grows generation to generation. And then you also get the wealth with it. It's going to take longer to get to that point, but it's going to be a sustainable wealth. You know what I mean? And it's not going to tarnish your name or anything in the process. So that's the way that you should do it. Unfortunately, everyone just wants to go for the quick tendies. They want to take the elevator up. They don't want to take the stairs or the ladder, I guess, because that's even harder than stairs, right? They don't want to take that ladder up. They want to take the damn escalator up. They want to take the helicopter and just shoot up, you know, immediately. And it's like, you can't do that shit, man. Because how everybody gets burned, it tarnishes your name, and there's just no integrity anymore. And seeing that, it actually pissed me off. That, like, this is absolutely disgusting. I know I just put out a video saying maybe Mike wasn't the villain after all. But now, obviously, with the change of events, you know what I mean, I have to put the crosshair back on him, because he was behind a lot of this shit. And if he was secretly selling shit off, it's absolutely disgusting, Michael Waddell. There was no reason to be doing this. Like, I don't understand why you thought this was fine. But again, you know, if nobody knows about it, it doesn't hurt anybody, essentially, right? And that's kind of how we felt. But that's disgusting. Like, absolutely disgusting that you were doing this. It just tarnishes MetaZoo's name. Like, if there wasn't already all these things to tarnish it, people aren't already up in arms about everything that's been going on, all these rumors, the way the company was being ran, like, absolutely disgusting, you know, with Andy doing all the things he was doing. But then to find out that this was happening on top of it, it's literally just a cherry on top at this point. I mean, if there's going to be any death to MetaZoo, like, this is it. There's no way it's coming back in its current form. There's just no way. After all this shit, you know, confirmed now with screenshots and everything, there's just no way. There's just no way. And it's unfortunate this is the way that it has to, you know, end, you know, this whole saga. At least it's sad, you know, that TCG is going to die this way after so many people invested so much into it. We thought that they could be trusted. We thought that they weren't going to overprint shit. You know what I mean? That they weren't going to secretly hold on to stuff, sell it off. We know Andy has stacks of cards. He has binders full of all kind of cards I've been hearing lately. It's disgusting what I've been hearing. And I get it. You know what I mean? They're part of the company, so it's like, why can't they have their own collection of cards and stuff? But I mean, it's a fine line, you know, of what you're printing and what you're not printing. And if you're going to start selling that stuff off, you know, it's fine if it's for your own personal, you know, collection, but if you start selling it off and backdooring it to the community, I mean, it's bad, man. And again, you know, nobody really knew that this was happening. You know, I mean, we had an inkling that it was, but nobody truly knew that it was happening. And now we can confirm that it was. So unfortunately, there is no fucking integrity when it comes to MetaZoo. And it hurts my heart to say that. It hurts my heart to, you know, accept that that's fact, but it is fact at this point in time. So I don't know, guys, but I'm going to continue to put out videos because I have a few more topics I want to talk about. There's like 3 or 4 more videos I want to do in the next like week or two. Hopefully I can get them out, talking about different things. Way behind the curve. You know, I wanted to put these videos out like last week, but I've been busy and stuff. So they will be made. They might not be super relevant by the time I get them out, but you know, we got a lot of time because I don't think any announcements are going to be coming anyway. So I think it'll be all right. And we can get some conversations going and, you know, hopefully, you know, get something happening here. Hopefully we can inspire somebody to come here and buy it out if they have the means to do so eventually. Just to show that we have passion, you know, I mean, that's what we have to do. Show them we have passion, continue to put out content, continue to do pack openings, all these different things. It's going to show somebody out there that, hey, people still love this thing. There's a reason to buy it. And if that's all we're doing by putting out these videos, then you know what, it's worth it to me. So I suggest any content creators out there, you know, continue to put out content because it's going to give, you know, MetaZoo a chance to survive, you know, down the line. And it might be completely different than the MetaZoo we loved, but at least it'll survive. You know what I mean? At least it'll still be out there in some form or another.